Alright, still some left. So, welcome to another episode of Craft and Chill. I'm just gonna work on stuff, hang out with y'all, and still working on the sci-fi face mask. Basically working on it 1 hour at a time on Thursday mornings with y'all. So you can kind of see real time how long it takes to make something like this. And this is a small project. So in case you were ever wondering how long something like this takes to make, it's a couple hours. It might be a little bit faster if I wasn't talking and streaming, but then you wouldn't get to see it. So what are you going to do? So we had some technical issues last week, and I think that's all been sorted out. So y'all let me know if there are any problems or anything like that. So today's awesome shirt is from Black Nerd Swag, and you can go check them out at blacknerdswag.com. They are an awesome company, and I highly recommend them. Today's stream music is lo-fi beats from Stream Beats. I still haven't figured out how to display it at the bottom so that you can see what song is playing, but I'm sure I'll get there eventually, or just give up. We are still matching donations through the end of April 2021 for the Asian Americans Advancing Justice, the Atlanta chapter. So if you send me a picture of your donation, just the amount and the organization, then we will match it up to $250 through the end of this month. We're also donating 15% of our profits for the month of April and the last week of March to the organization as well. So I think that is all the housekeeping stuff. Still trying to figure out a setup, so I've got myself a little floating shelf for the laptop now, so we'll see how that works, see if maybe I can play with some camera angles for next time so that you're not seeing the keyboard all the time. But, you know, we're not fancy around here. We try things, they work, don't work. We try it again until they work. That's sort of the motto around here. So, last week we worked on we were using the vinyl glue to get our clear face mask piece glued together. So I haven't taken the tape off yet to see how it did. So let's do that first. Very exciting. Assuming I can get the tape off after it's been here for a week. I also have no fingernails because I'm learning to play the guitar, or relearning. So no fingernails anymore, which is weird for me. Is looking pretty fabulous. Okay. So I'm just pulling it slowly because I don't want to accidentally pull the seam apart. It should be nice and stuck together by now, but it's not that it's a delicate vinyl, but I'm sure that this is not what the inventors of that vinyl glue had in mind. All right, one last piece of tape. All right, so everything stayed stuck together, which is super cool. You probably run some water through it to see if there's any holes, but it doesn't look like it. So that's really exciting. And so there's no mouth obstruction Probably have to spray it with a defogger just to make it all nice and clear all the time. But that's super great. Okay, so now we have our sort of base piece here. And then this is the mouthpiece, and it will go over this base piece like so. And then this is the nose piece. Now, I was concerned last week, and I don't know if it came through on the stream or not, that the nose piece was going to be a little long. So the whole point for me to make this part clear is so you could see my mouth when I was talking and see my lips, to be able to help people understand communication, being able to read lips in addition to hearing and seeing facial expressions. So my facial expressions are pretty neutral. I get Botox injections for migraines, so that's me raising my eyebrows. So I need some extra help when I'm trying to communicate with people because I don't have really facial expressions right now above my eyebrows. So this piece looks like it's going to be a little bit long. It's supposed to sit here. And my face is kind of small. The person who designed this does have a larger face than me. Not a big deal. We can trim it down. So my plan is to trim off too many cameras now. So exciting. This piece right here, so it lines up, and that should shorten it enough. And if it doesn't, then we'll just keep making it shorter until it looks good. So there is that. But before we start putting all these pieces together, we want to finish kind of prepping the other pieces. So I'm going to set these off to the side, and I have plugged in today the Dremel. Now, it can be any rotary tool. This is the one we happen to already own. So, very exciting. So I wanted to show y'all how to change out the tip of the Dremel, the rotary tool, because of the age of this tool, I didn't have the instructions, and I wasn't sure. You could go online and Google the instructions, but I wasn't thinking about that, so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to change it. So in this particular model, it has this little silver button right here. So what you do is you push that down until it clicks. So I turn this to make it click, and what it does is it will basically hold the chuck in place, which is this part that spins right here, and then you loosen it up so you can pull out whatever piece was in there before, or if there is no piece. So we're going to be using this little sanding drum, and that will go right there in the chuck, and then continuing to hold down that silver button, we just tighten it. Now we've got a new tip. I'm kind of terrified of this tool because it moves faster than I do, and I don't think I've ever used it on a high speed because I get nervous and know I'm just going to mess something up. So this one has two speeds. It's got a low and a high, and so I use the low speed. This is what the high speed sounds like. It sounds kind of like a vacuum, and it stresses me out. So I don't know if you could see the difference. So here's the low speed and the high speed. So very fun. Tools are always a good time. So what I am going to do is last week, I'm going to clear out my space a little bit so there's plenty of room to work and I don't feel like I've got to work around other pieces. So last week, there were two sets of I also feel the same way about my soldering gun or soldering iron because it's just the single cylinder piece. Yeah, I mean, I get nervous when the vacuum gets that loud because it usually means I've caught something in the beaters. So, yeah. So last week we scored these pieces, and we talked a little bit about beveling. So I'm actually going to use the little drum on here to bevel my edges because I've got 4 pieces, and that will go faster. since we're always waiting for glue to dry. So, safety first. When you're using the sanding, whether you're hand sanding or using a drum sander, it puts a lot of particulates into the air. Now, I used to keep a stock of regular N95 masks. Yes. See, Janet T gets me. Yeah, so I used to use regular N95 masks in the shop, and then last year when those became hard to find, that I made an investment in this big in here. So it's already got lipstick on it because of course it does. So we're gonna do our safety first. So now that's nice and secure, and I will, sorry, I haven't actually talked with this thing on yet. So if y'all are having trouble hearing me, let me know, but I'm mostly just going to be sanding. So let's see how scary we can be with, I feel like I've got a vocal modulator on now as well. This is going to be a good day. Well, Janet T, welcome to your first crafting stream. Awesome. So I wanted to show y'all, these are the particles from just that little bit of sanding. So, I don't know how much y'all can see, but that was just a little bit there, and all those little black dust particles there are now not in my lungs, although I probably should have put on some safety glasses too. I'm sure my contacts will be fine, and I'll just take them out afterwards. It'll be fine. So here is, so what I did was I went right up to our, the line that we cut in there, our scoring line. And so these are the two pieces side by side. So it's still the same width. It's just now at a 45-ish degree angle. So that's one down. didn't take too long to do, and for me, it takes longer to do with the knife. So we're gonna knock out. Let's go ahead and do one of the larger ones so I can show you why this is a good idea. And actually, we'll do the one that I got excited about and didn't read directions. That's really my favorite part of doing art, Kindermaid, just the experimentation and finding the things that work. And I look at tutorials and I do sometimes read directions. But if I'm trying something myself, and this pattern is just the pattern, there actually aren't directions. And so I had to go back and look at the person who created this is R31 Studios. And you can find them on Facebook and on the web at R31 Studios. They're actually in the middle of a con crunch. They're in New Zealand and going to a convention for the first time in a year. So I'm very excited / jealous of that. But they give out these free patterns and then they'll put pictures. So I had to really look at the picture to see how it was sort of constructed. So this is our part 11, which is the base for our little cone. So this yellow piece here are the, see if I can get this. Nope. There we go. Sort of. Okay. So the little black knobs that are sticking off the sides are what these yellow pieces are. So without the beveled edge, with it being just mostly straight, when you put it in the bottom of the piece, it stretches it out and it doesn't quite fit flat and makes this weird sort of lumpy shelf kind of thing. So by beveling it, again, we maintain the width we want, but by making the 45-degree angle instead, it now fits in there just like it was made to. Look at that. Beautimous. And this piece is a little funky because I tried to put a square peg in a round hole. But, you know, we all have those days, I feel. So this may be a little bit extra care involved. And with our rotary tool, we can always sand it down a little bit if it's not fitting. But that is the general idea. And see now it doesn't have that weird kind of lip. It's just this nice smooth piece. And then the number 12 piece goes in the top, maybe? No. That's a fib. The number 8 piece goes in the top, and this, I think, I don't know. I'll have to look. Let's see. 8 is the filter stand. So 8 goes on the bottom. 9 goes on top of 8. That makes sense. Yep, so 12 is the filter cone top. So 11, 12, and 13. That's clever. So it looks like I might want to sand this down just a little bit. Although, I don't know. It's our very fancy, our own design now, right? Well, Kinder Mage, there will definitely be pattern pieces left over. Hopefully I do put everything together the way it's supposed to. But it's always an adventure. You should have been there, and I didn't stream it, but I might, when I built my first robot, and definitely had pieces left over. And it was from a kit, and there were instructions, and I still couldn't get it. Hey, Wonder Goon, how's it going? Just so you know, Wonder Goon, we're using the Rotary tool, so if you have your volume turned up, it might be loud. Just a warning. yeah, I'm glad you're able to come hang out live as well. So this is why we wear heavy duty mask. That or an N95. Um, I mean, I guess that the regular masks would be okay if that's all you had. Uh, because these are particulates, they it's just like if you know any woodworkers who work with MDF, it's the same kind of thing. So with MDF, if the particulates get moist, they will clump. So if you inhale MDF particulates, that it can actually stick to the alveoli in your lungs, the little tiny. So your lungs are made up of bunches of little tiny sacs of air. And so if something gets in those sacs of air, that's what makes it hard to breathe most of the time. So if it's got water in there, it's called pneumonia. And so the MDF particles can basically stick on the insides of the sacs and can fill them up and give you trouble breathing. Same kind of idea here. So we want to be as careful as possible. There's still going to be particulates in the air from just sort of doing it. I don't do a whole lot of foam work right now, but if I do, I will probably install some sort of ventilation hood or something. I can't really have the windows open because of my allergies. So that will be part of the home renovation, is to be able to include something to take the dust from the, and it's true with the sewing. If you cut a lot of fabric, that you should use a mask as well, because those tiny particles of fibers get into your lungs as well. So luckily, that's all that we're going to be doing for that. And always wash your hands when you're done crafting. Probably should wash them before as well, but I feel like it might be less important. So I'm going to grab a paper towel real quick. And I've got a little cup of water over here. I did bust out the foam clay just in case we got to that, because that is super fun. I also will work on foam projects at one time and fabric projects in one time because of stuff like this. The glues and the particles and all that stuff. It's just easier. It's a little less cleaning if I can just do it one at a time. Yeah, it's something that so I went to school, and part of my education, I went to school for technical theater, and part of my education was sewing in a costume shop, where you would basically spend a couple of hours working on whatever the show that needed. And that was not something that we talked about, was the safety around the fabrics. We didn't wear masks, but the room it was something like a 20-foot high ceiling, because it was on the back of the scene shop, and there was really great ventilation, and so it wasn't really an issue for us. But in a home setting, you got to be really careful, and that's not something that gets talked about a whole lot in the fabric and sewing communities, because folks aren't usually doing hours and hours of sewing. So yeah, I also made a lot of masks, so thanks to your wife for helping out with that when we needed it. That's awesome. So we've got all our beveling done, or at least close to it. So everybody's favorite part, contact cement. Okay. Contact cement and silicone brushes. I made a pair of horns yesterday, or finished a pair of horns yesterday. And I did try the silicone brushes with the gesso to as my base, and it wasn't as full coverage as I wanted, which makes sense. So I did bust out my sponge brush for that, and then I had a bristle brush for dry brushing, which was my plan the whole time. Oh, excuse me. But So that's something I want to experiment with at some point, is how to use the silicone brushes for things other than just glue. So we'll see. All right. So 8 and 9 are our stands. And there's the other 8 and 9. 13 are our cones. 12s are the tops. And 11s are the bottoms. So it should be, let's see here. I'll go for this guy. Still love these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue, the contact cement, on our beveled edge. See here that it's sort of this 45-degree angle now, ish. You know, like most things that I do, things get close to approximations most of the time. There are some things, especially like fabrics that don't have that aren't forgiving. They just hold a grudge. That there's some things that need to be really precise. This isn't really one of them. Also, first time doing the project and doing it for ourselves. So I'm okay with having to add extra details and stuff. And that's actually my plan with the foam clay. So probably won't get to it this week, but next week could be foam clay week, and that would be fun. Yeah, you have to be really aware of the materials that you're using. So this glue has fumes. The paints have fumes. Now acrylics are better than the spray paints. You should never spray paint indoors, in case you didn't know. But that also goes for the Plasta Dip sprays and all sorts of stuff. So I have last year, when I was making the Marvin the Martian helmet, I used paper mache as a shell, and then I used gesso on top of the paper mache because that's sort of what you do. It's a paper product, and gesso loves paper. Turns out gesso loves foam too. So I did it for the horns, and I'm gonna try it for this project too, to use gesso as my primer instead of spraying it with Plastidip. And there's a little bit more control with brush strokes. You don't have to worry about overspray, and the gesso has a lot lower of a fume kind of ratio thing. So especially because I can be real sensitive to smells, and they can be migraine triggers for me, that I'm always looking for something that that I can do to avoid triggering any kind of migraine. But I still want to be able to paint and to make things because that's super fun times. All right, so let's see. All right, filter stand base here. Are you the 9? You're the 9. Okay, so the 9 is going to go directly onto our face mask. So we'll set them off to the side over there, which means that, actually, I got excited. So that means the 8 is going to go on top of the 9. And that'll make it just stand out just a little bit so it's not straight on the face. So that will be probably the easiest thing I glue all day. We just put our glue on there. So normally when you're doing contact cement, you put glue on both sides so that it gets a nice sticky seal. Well, by doing these flat pieces, I'm just gonna set them off to the side here, and the glue should stick itself. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna let those two sit off by their. Thank you, Kindermage. I can always count on you to come up with a good pun or a dad joke. And unlike some people we know, I actually appreciate the art of the pun. Look at that. That fit so snug, y'all. I am so excited. I know you can't see it on my face, but I am. That it just like it was made for it. So exciting. All right. So we'll sit that one there. Now this one I stretched out a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit different, but that's okay. I'm going to take our handy dandy blade. And once it dries, that would be the best course of action. You are absolutely right. So what I'm going to do, as you can see that it's a little bit stretched because I tried to force that issue earlier. So going to basically, I'm going to cut this seam open. It's like seam ripping, but less fiddly. I will go through all sorts of shenanigans to not use a seam ripper. It's pretty bad. All right. So, because it's nice and tacky now, we'll go just like that. And then when it's completely dry, I'll trim off this extra here. All right, so let's see how we did with our top pieces. We'll do the one that I just opened up first because. All right, yeah. Now I see in the picture that it doesn't, okay, all right, I see what you did there. So this one doesn't sit completely flush with the top. They look kind of like shoes. So in this case, the bevel is to give some surface for this cone. Just like that. So exciting. Okay. So we got that. And I'm going to wait on this one because I want it to continue to dry and be completely dry so I can redo that seam. But this one, looking pretty nice. A nice little filter here. So these guys are still a little damp, which makes sense. But you can see when I squished it up. So by putting just the glue on it, you get this little pop effect, which is interesting and good to file away for later. All right. But now that it's nice and tacky, it goes nice and flat. So this will be glued on to there. That was a terrible finger to use. I apologize. All right. Oh, goodness. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish gluing all these pieces together because they can just hang out and be friends. And so that will sit right there in the middle. So we have our little faux filter. Just put a nice layer of the contact cement on there. And I lied. We'll go ahead and I'll be able to navigate around that. So here are our two filters. Now this one needs a little bit of TLC here on the back side, but otherwise looking pretty nice. All right, so I'm gonna set those over far away so I don't mess with them and let them dry. And we still got a little bit of time. uh, I mean, yeah, I guess since we're working with flat pieces, that would be true. I have only been to Kansas a handful of times. I drove through it a couple of times, and we went on a vacation to Dodge City. And I took my boyfriend there because he likes cowboys, and so that was a fun time. And it's very flat. It is. You cannot play marbles there, and I'm sad for you. Or you can't cheat at marbles, I guess, because there's no variation in your ground. Assuming anyone under the age of, 60 plays marbles anymore. I don't know. I don't know what the kids are doing today. Cool. Well, then that means we've got time to work with our clear mask bit. I'm excited about that. So, I have to figure out what's the top and what's the bottom. Okay. Are you supposed to be ear covers? What's happening here? I feel like this whole piece might be a little large. So these are supposed to go behind. Or, yeah. So this is supposed to fit this way. Probably should have used a different color so y'all can see it. But yeah, those are supposed to be all the way up to your ears. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this piece up here. Yes. I only play a troll on the international internet. I'm definitely not troll sized at all. Of course, that's the best reason to play a troll is because you're a small person. All right. So let's see. This is a nose piece. That's better. We'll go with that. I think that will work. Oh, and also our chin detail that we had already glued together. All right, so next up is to attach the clear face plate, and then this will go on top, like so, and then there will be this. So the reason that, and now it's upside down. Hold on. Oh, technology. Let's just scamp. There we go. All right. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Apparently the Wi-Fi dropped on my phone. So that's fun. Always fun learning something. Yes, yeah, that's gonna be next up. I'm gonna have a GoPro on my head so I can just have the dance cam. So yeah, my plan is that once we get all this sort of glued down, to then put some details on it with the foam clay. And I guess I could put it behind. I mean, if you want to be smart about it. Well, everybody should be dancing. I'm a big fan, so I'm glad that that it was achieved. Let me see if there's any additional notes. Stick behind mask base. Yeah, so the mask is supposed to go on top. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll put the nose piece on top of that. So I'm trying to contact cement first because the vinyl glue isn't really made for the foam, and I'm afraid that it may not dry or it may not stick. So but if we can sandwich this properly, it won't really matter. All right, so we're gonna let that dry out just a little bit before we figure out which way is up. I guess we can go ahead and put glue on these things too. I know I wrote left and right. We'll see if I actually know my difference. Yes, that is very true. Hydrating with contact cement is not recommended by anybody. I do like my contact cement, but not enough to drink out. Also, my cup has a lid thing that can close, so I can keep all those nasty particles out. Gotta think about the safety. I don't know what's going on over here. Upside down again? Upside down again. Ready? One more dance party. One more crafting dance party. Unclear. Unclear what's happening over here. Just something else to research for later. Like, hold on. Let's see if I can fix this. Now. So, I was supposed to be having a chat box show up, and it didn't. And I think it's because I had it behind my picture. So, we'll see. See, this is fun. It's like live theater, except everyone can see all the mistakes you've made forever. But that's fine. Everything is fine. We're having a good time. Oh, that's a good point. Here are my scissors. So because of the way that it got glued, that not all the pieces line up, and Janty made an excellent point that they should be lined up. I know you were thinking it. That's why I said it. Here we go. So my goal is to just line up all of the center lines. If I can do that, I will consider that a victory for like the week. Yeah, okay. So now I'm just gonna press down here as we go. And this will give some additional form to the mask because it is supposed to be, this is supposed to be a foam piece in the middle. Well, I just kind of turn on my computer and hope for the best. So I'm definitely much more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of person when it's my stuff. If it's someone else's stuff, then I am there. I have backup plans for backup plans. All right, that's pretty good, and it's sticking pretty nicely. So I got a couple of spots where it's gapping, but we're going to be covering up those seams. I certainly wouldn't hate being the Bob Ross of craft streaming. Yes, you could follow along at home and do this with me. All right, look at that. Stuck most of the places. So now we have our side pieces. I did that right. That's amazing. Okay. Do 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 do. Very exciting. So we're going to do this one over here. And it's starting to look like the picture, which is always exciting. I feel the same way about baking. Oh, I'm so excited! So yeah, we've got like 4 minutes. That's plenty of time. So I'm going to put glue on here, and then we're gonna sandwich it down. Very excited. Oh, so excited, y'all. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. And that's another nice thing about the contact cement is, so hot glue, once it's dry, unless you heat it up again, you're done. And with this, it stays sticky just a little bit longer, so if you need to reposition something, you can, to a certain degree. And the chin piece. Very exciting. All right. So while I'm waiting for the glue to dry a little bit so that we can have all our pieces at least together, for next week. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know that you can find us online at geekforge.org. We're on Etsy at thegeekforge.etsy.com. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. The Instagram is at Geekforge, and everywhere else is at The Geekforge. We also have YouTube channel, which we upload previous Twitch videos on there, and also some of our other convention adventures from a couple of years ago are on there. There is a Google Glass tour of a Millennium Falcon cockpit replica, which is super fun. Yeah, and so we are still taking donations and matching donations rather for the Asian Americans Advancing Justice Organization based out of Atlanta, and we will be matching those donations through the end of April of 2021. You can send me a picture of the amount that you donated, and then we can match it. And we are donating 15% of our profits for the entire month of April and the last week of March to the same organization. You can come hang out with me and some other amazing people on Tuesday nights at the Rem Alternus Shadowrun actual play. We're playing Shadowrun missions. And yeah, today's t-shirt is blacknerdswag.com. If you have a business, a small business that you would like me to represent during my stream, send me a message and we'll be happy to have a chat with you. So here is the moment of truth. And it's all silent now. The music stopped. Okay. There it is. Probably require a little bit of touch up after everything's dry, but that's not a big deal at all. And then let's see. Yes, this way. Yes? Yes. So I'm just going to flatten this vinyl against the foam. And that's it. Pretty great. Pretty great. So yeah, this was a project that was sort of both. So because of my health conditions, I've been wearing a mask because of my allergies. And so trying to come up with cosplays where I can get my 6 feet of space and can keep a mask on that's sort of in character um, was sort of both driving forces. And so I thought that this would be a fun way to experiment. I did pick up a clear plastic, but it's very big for my face. It's perfect for my partner's face, but too big for me. And so just trying to come up with some different ways to still be able to be safe, or at least to protect myself from the pollen, and still be able to be in style. So some of the things that I am considering is a Warhammer cosplay, because all of that big chunky armor, no one is going to be able to get near to my face. And also I can maybe wear stilts and be taller. There's some really cool Sisters of Battle artwork out there who have like big like pipe organs behind their heads, and I am way into that. We also are looking at maybe doing a mech warrior cosplay, and the initial plan was to do just like the nice uniforms, but making a robot with me as the mech driver is also sounds like super fun. So yeah, just trying to come up with some different ideas on how to cosplay safely and to keep us safe. You know, even just from generic con crud. Um, and being able to enjoy myself as much as I can at conventions by being as healthy as I possibly can be. So that's sort of where the idea came from. And because this was a generic, oh, the other cosplay that I've actually been wanting to do for a long time is Tally from the Mass Effect series. So I might do that too. And she's got like a whole helmet. So talk about, you know, protection, right? So this will probably be the next few years of face pieces, and we'll see what sort of fun things we can come up with. So we are a little bit over, but that's totally fine. So I am going to say goodbye for now, but we did get everything put together except for the filters, and the filters will go, they're supposed to go right about here. So we'll have to check and see. Yeah, I'll want them to stick sort of out on the side. um, so we'll attach those next time. And I already have the foam clay. So we can do detail work and stuff like that. And then we can start painting. And painting is always the fun part. And also figure out how it's going to stick on my face. Because I have no idea. So I'll be thinking about that too. If y'all have any thoughts about that, let me know. And I will see you all next week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, here on the on our Twitch channel. That's where we are. And yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all then. And I hope that you have a great day